Hi, welcome to today's community chat. We're going to be speaking with Girls on the Run Hampton Roads. We have Emily Matisko, Program Director, and Hayley Beckner, Mission Advancement Director, with us to talk about the program, especially on this day, which is National Running Day, and why it's so important and why they base, some of the programs off of running to empower girls in our area. So I'm going to bring them on now. Hi, Emily and Hayley. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Hi,
Hi, how
Sarah.
are
Thank you
you
for.
doing?
I think this is really relevant, and you all just had your 5K a few weeks ago, so I think it's such a nice opportunity to use this day to talk about, one of the community organizations here. And, in just mentioning this chat to people, everyone's like, my daughter, is involved in that or had been involved in that, years ago. So it's something that's been in Hampton Roads for, a while now.
Yeah, our Hampton Roads Council, we've been around since 2006. It was actually created by a group of parents, so all volunteer based, which is kind of fitting because that's still the nature of our organization to this day, even though we have now a staff of 7, so it looks a little bit different, or 8 now actually, a little bit different than how it did in 2006. But yeah, very much a grassroots effort to bring empowerment to girls in Hampton Roads. And yeah, it's just grown exponentially since then. But Girls on the Run as a whole has been around since 1996, so a little bit longer.
And, first, do you all want to talk a little bit about your roles and how you help with Girls on the Run? Emily, if you want to go first.
Yeah, sure. So like you had mentioned, I am a program director. So basically what that means is I am assigned to certain cities in Hampton Roads. So for me, that's Chesapeake, Norfolk, and Portsmouth. And my job is essentially to connect with principals, school counselors, community centers, YMCA's, pretty much any potential location that could host our program and build those connections, those relationships to help bring our program to that location. So yeah, it's a lot of sending emails and having meetings, and again, just kind of spreading the word about Girls on the Run, what it is that we do, and how we can benefit that community. And on the side, I also do our communications, so major e-blasts, social media. You get to wear a lot of hats in the nonprofit world. And I know Hayley feels that as well. So that's a little bit about what I do.
And Hayley, if you could go too, just what is your role as Mission Advancement Director? And I guess if you want to share too, what is the overall mission?
Yeah, so my role as a mission advancement director, I work hand in hand with our awesome executive director, Ellen Carver, and I work with our sponsors and bringing funding in. And then I also help serve as support to our program directors. I started with Girls on the Run as an intern, and then I also worked as a program director for a year, and now I'm in the fundraising side. So, like Emily said, being a nonprofit, you have to wear a lot of different hats. So, wherever we're needed is really where I'm happy to help. But Girls on the Run mission, we inspire girls just to be healthy and joyful, and we use a curriculum that our volunteers give to our girls and basically teach them confidence and be able to incorporate different activities that will get them up and moving. We use the running aspect in our 5K. So really, it's all around just positive atmosphere and just bringing confidence to these girls that they need at this age.
Absolutely. And just to ask, did either of you have this program in your area? Back when maybe we aged out of it, but I had
I
Girl
wish.
Scouts, but I did not have this. You did?
I did not. I
Yeah.
wish I did. I'm from Virginia, but I think the local council would have been Richmond, but I don't think it would have been around when I was in school.
Yeah, I didn't have, well, there is, so I'm originally from Pittsburgh, and I know there is a council in Pittsburgh, but I was not a runner as a kid. So I don't think I would have been, like, if my mom had brought home a flyer and been like, hey, join Girls on the Run, I would have been like, no, thank you. So, not to say I didn't need it, because I think I definitely would have benefited from it. And even, having coached the program myself for several seasons, like you learn so much. So when I've coached, I was like, man, I wish I could have had these skills as a kid, but I've been getting a little bit of them now through coaching.
But really, when you're an elementary student, a 5K can seem daunting, and that can seem like a lot to take on. So, Emily, since you said, you were a coach, do people think at the beginning of the program that they'll be able to accomplish that?
It's a mix. You have some girls who are really gung ho and are like, 3 miles, that's nothing. I got this. Some of them are really into running and absolutely love it. And then you have the crowd that's like, you know, they're not even sure how far a 5K is, which is totally fine. I also would not have known that at that age. But yeah, they're a little apprehensive, and we actually have a lesson in the curriculum. It's several weeks in where we do a practice 5K, which is, as the name suggests, the girls are actually completing 3.1 miles during practice. And, it's a shock for some of them, because we do laps and we do these workouts, but, it builds to that point. So up until then, the girls really haven't completed that distance. So it's a shock, but can also be a really empowering experience for the girls as well, because, they complete it and they're like, wow, I just did that. And at the start of practice, I didn't think I could. So not only do they get that during the program, but then they also had that same experience at the 5K at the end of the season, which is really cool.
And right, to see that growth, that must be so exciting as a coach, and also to be a part of the program and see where these girls may have started, and then to finish just a few weeks ago with that big accomplishment, must be so gratifying for themselves, but then also for the team.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, yeah, I actually ran the 5K for the first time with my team. I've coached before, but we're always working the 5K as staff. So I've never actually gotten to run it. And yeah, just the energy among the crowd was incredible. There's so much excitement, so many good positive vibes, everyone's supporting each other. You're out on the course, and coaches and girls who I don't even know, I mean, we're supporting each other and cheering each other on, so it's a really special environment.
And, I wanted to talk a little bit too, for people that don't know, I mean, how is it organized? How are the teams set up? And how many schools or girls do you all work with?
Sure. Hayley, you want to take that one?
Yeah, so we serve all over Hampton Roads. So we're all the way from Virginia Beach to Western Tidewater, Norfolk, Chesapeake. We're even in Gates County, North Carolina. And now we're also serving the peninsula. So we serve Hampton, Newport News, York County schools, and we're trying to reach to Williamsburg. Um, so the teams, the way our program works is we have to have two trained coaches who are willing to volunteer their time, which it's two practices a week, about 75 minutes for each practice. And typically the program is held after school. So most of our volunteers are educators, and they volunteer their time to coach our program. And it's about a 12-week long commitment. We do have teams in communities, and this was something we really relied on during COVID and when we weren't able to be in schools. So that's grown as well. We're in community centers and parks. So it really is all based around our volunteers. And if we have that availability of two individuals or more who are able to give their time to give this curriculum to these girls, and then once they meet after the 12 weeks, they all come together across Hampton Roads and have our 5K. And a lot of these girls, we do site visits, which is really fun for me because then I get to meet so many different teams across Hampton Roads. And I will say, do you know how big the 5K is? Like how many people are going to be there? And they're like 100. I'm like thousands. And they're just blown away. So it's just really incredible to tell these girls that, you're in this program and there's girls all over in the same program, and you're going to get to meet them and run with them. And it's just the energy is so contagious. It's just amazing. And we're really great with having awesome volunteers cheering the girls on. So it all comes down to our volunteers getting our program up and running.
And we have some B-roll on the screen for those watching of the 5K. And I mean, you can tell from parents there, friends there, family, maybe just other volunteers and supporters, that this program does work. I mean, I think that is one thing that it looks like, at least, just as a viewer from the 5K, there's obviously so much support around this program. I mean, what do you think has made it last this long and has been, been such a staple?
That's a good question. I mean, I think kind of what you were just saying, that the program works, right? I mean, there was an independent study that was completed back in 2017 to basically measure the efficacy of the program. Like, are the skills that the girls are learning, well, one, are the girls actually learning and retaining these skills? And two, are the skills staying with them after they participated in the program? And the study found that yes, actually, the girls, they increased in confidence, in caring, in connection. They built positive relationships. There was a stat I was just reading that it was like 85% of participants increased in their confidence levels. Over 90% felt that they were included and valued by their coaches and their teammates. And those stats stayed the same. They retested the girls after a 3-month period after they participated in the program, and those stats stayed the same. So the girls were retaining those skills that they learned and retaining that confidence that they had gained from being in the program. So I think, yeah, just the results of the program are lasting, and they kind of speak for themselves. And I think that's why it has had such staying power, not only in Hampton Roads, but across the nation, because it works. We have the results and the data to back it up. Yeah.
And, for these girls, some of them might not consider themselves when they start to be an athlete or to be, inclined to sports. I mean, there must be people that join who aren't familiar with this sort of activity. I mean, in that situation, how do you see their growth? Or you talked about yourself, Emily, probably not signing up for running, if this was available. But I imagine that you all do have these, girls in, and then it's not like they have to make the team. They don't have to hit a certain mile time. So it's really open for anyone and anyone's interest.
It is, yeah. And one phrase that we always say to our girls, to our coaches, is keep moving forward, right? So, however you reach the finish line, however you complete your laps, whether it's running, walking, a combination of both, jogging, rolling, skipping, whatever type of movement feels best for you. I have noticed over the years that Girls on the Run, even though running is in our name, we are really trying and making a concerted effort to be inclusive of all fitness levels, knowing that, for kids like me, when I was in elementary school, that running doesn't appeal to everyone, but that's okay. Because even though, yes, we are big on physical activity, we want girls to experience that when they're in our program. The life skill building is really the heart of where it's at, right? And you don't have to be a runner to build life skills in the program. So yeah, that's definitely, again, that inclusion of all fitness levels is something that we really try to communicate to people, because so many people hear Girls on the Run and they're like, like you were saying, like, oh, no, I'm not a runner. But we want to be like, that's okay. You don't have to be. This is for everyone.
And I want to jump in a little bit and talk about, how do you get involved? Whether it's on, you want to sign your kids up, or maybe you have time in your schedule to be a coach or to volunteer.
There's lots of different opportunities to get involved with Girls on the Run. One of our biggest is being a coach, like I said, and that's that 12-week long commitment. Other opportunities are coming to our 5K. You can come to a cheer station, our water stop. We have course marshals that will keep the girls safe. We also have internship opportunities. Like, that's how I started with Girls on the Run. So we're always working with other organizations or corporate groups to get them in, and they'll help us stuff our coach boxes and get that ready for the season, or even going through our shirts and getting those ready for the girls. So we always typically have a volunteer opportunity for individuals, or someone who doesn't want to get involved. So we're so grateful for our volunteers. It really is, the backbone of our organization and how we succeed.
Absolutely. And then, I also wanted to ask, you said that there is a camp that is coming up soon this summer, and there's still room in that camp. I mean, can you tell us a little bit about that? Because that's such a large amount of time to be with these girls as opposed to maybe, 45 minutes or so after school. So, what are they doing at this camp?
Do you want to go?
So, sure, yeah. So, camp is, yeah, definitely a very unique program. It's been around since 2017, so it is a little bit newer for us as opposed to our standard after school program. But it's really combining the best of the Girls on the Run curriculum that is facilitated after school, but then we also have this whole camp component where girls are doing scavenger hunts. We'll have Zumba dance parties. I hear they're making like clay bowls this year. I just heard that the other day. So really kind of those arts and crafts pieces that are very standard to summer camp is also incorporated into the week. So yeah, it's really fun. There is a lot that happens during the day, but again, still brings in that flavor of Girls on the Run. Where this year we're focusing all on friendship. So the camp curriculum is all about how do you make friends? How do you keep friends? How do you connect with people and find similarities and differences that connect you both? So it's a really great curriculum. It's one of my favorites, and I think it's so important for girls to learn those skills. But they also journal, and again, all those camp activities that happen in the afternoon. So we're really trying to expand our camp program this summer. I believe we still have 5 sessions that are going to be available. The first one starting on June 19th, so it's coming up fast. But yeah, we're really excited for summer camp, and it keeps us busy during the summer months where otherwise we wouldn't have much to do since school's not in session. So we're really excited for it.
And the topic of friendship, that's one thing that we touched on, the confidence building, and getting them to reach their goals. But can you talk a little bit about how important that friendship aspect is? I mean, I think for team building and everything, to have an opportunity to hang out with girls out of school, I mean, how important is, and what kind of relationships do you all see building?
Yeah, oh, go ahead, Haley.
Oh, no, I was just going to say one thing I really appreciate about the program is our program is 3rd through 5th grade for Girls on the Run. And then we also have a middle school program called Heart and Soul. So this really gives the girls an opportunity to meet other girls in different grades. So maybe, they come from a bigger school and they don't know someone that is in 4th grade if they're a 3rd grader. So it's really a great chance for them to make different connections and make different friendships. And then also our community sites are really great. We work with some of the YMCAs, and they're girls from different schools. So it's an opportunity for them to meet girls in different communities and maybe make friends that they wouldn't have had a chance to before.
Yeah, and I was also going to say that I think now that we are kind of coming out of the pandemic, I mean, we saw so much. I'm thinking in like the 21-22 school year where we were kind of back in person, but like not quite there. It was going back and forth. There was so much going on. But when we would do our end of season surveys, like the number one thing or answer that people would say in regards to what did you get out of the program for girls and even coaches was connection. So we really have seen, with the pandemic and the years following, is this theme of how important connection is. And really the relationship building piece, it's helping build those social emotional skills of like, how do you interact with people who are different from you? How do you try to find connections among people who, like Haley said, are in different grades or who go to different schools and who you might not see every single day, but can still build relationships with? I mean, that's something that, as adults, we have to do on a regular basis, right? Connect with people who are different from us. So it's so special to see. I mean, I've coached a community team myself, so I do have girls from different schools, and it's always so cool at the end of the season. They'll be like exchanging, contact information and talking about setting up play dates, and it just warms my heart every single time. But yeah, the connection piece again, especially, as we have kind of evolved from this, like all virtual setting
Right.
that we were in during the pandemic has been really important for girls to experience.
Well, I mean, is there anything else that you all want to talk about? I mean, I think in general, I'm sure there's, a ton of different stories that you all have just working with the organization and the different girls that you all have come across. But is there anything else that, in terms of maybe what the community should know about the program that you guys would really like to share?
Oh, that's a good question.
If you have a girl that that needs this program, call us, reach out to us. What we can do is try to find that support in the schools, or if you have connections to get us into more schools. We really, that's what we need as our coaches to be able to have this program, so we can serve more girls. But yeah, just getting involved and seeing firsthand, come to our 5K or get involved with camp. There's so many different opportunities to get involved with us, and we're just so grateful. And it's extremely rewarding seeing the girls come out of this program. As a previous coach myself, I had girls, I remember on the first day of practice, they told me they don't run, they're not planning on running. And at the 5K, I had a third grader who ran the entire 5K with me, and she never ran at practice once. So, like I said, the energy at the 5K is just completely contagious, and it's just so rewarding just seeing the confidence and the relationships that the girls get from the program.
And we have one comment that I wanted to ask you about. Someone just talking about scholarships being available. Could you touch a little bit about that?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So we have a sliding scale for our program fee. Every girl in our program receives a scholarship or a discounted rate. We never charge a family the full price of what it actually cost us. But our girls, throughout the season, we have a scholarship fund called our Cape Campaign. And I am so excited to say that our girls raised over $27,000 this spring season. And that money goes towards the girl next season and helps us be able to provide their program at a very small fee of $39. We also work with different school districts that will cover the fee and pay for all the girls in the school, like Newport News is one of our schools that we work with. So if there's a family that needs help, we will absolutely work with them. Any way that we could get their girl involved. There's always opportunities to get a scholarship. We also have some scholarships left for camp. So if it ever comes down to financials, please reach out to us and we will do what we can to get them involved.
That's amazing. And that's great that Newport News chooses, to utilize that resource, for the girls. So that's great to know. And I'll make sure to save that note as well for people that might not be familiar with it, and that do live in Newport News. Emily, I think I cut you off before I said the scholarships thing. So I wanted to see if you had anything else.
Yeah, no, you're good. I was just, I was going to add in just about why I think, the importance of girl-only programming, because that's a conversation we also have of like, well, what about boys on the run, And that's not to say that boys do not need to build social emotional life skills. They absolutely do. And I wish I could say we had a boys on the run. But why we focus on specifically girls is because girls really are faced with kind of a different set of challenges, especially as they enter in adolescence. We see their self-confidence starts to drop by age 9, which is crazy and so early. And their physical activity levels start to drop as well, again, around that age 9, which is when we, really begin serving the girls. So really to give girls a space where it is just a girl-centered space, right, where we are speaking to issues that are relevant to them, and they can feel safe to really share what's on their hearts and to be vulnerable with peers they know they can trust, with coaches and role models that they know they can trust. We want to create an environment, again, a girl-centered environment where they can thrive and again, build their confidence. So I just knowing that that's a conversation that comes up. Yeah, I just wanted to comment on why girl-centered programming is necessary and really important for our young people.
No, thank you. I mean, that's so important. And I do think, people do want it to be open for all, but I know in between the three of us, I'm sure we know, how important, those friendships are, whether you make them, in middle school and lower school, like some of these girls, or you make them, older in life. I think it's such an important piece.
Yeah, it absolutely is. Yeah, and it sticks with them. Like we said, we have girls who, will go on and, they're still friends with people they've connected with in the program, or, I think one of our staff members, it was a few months ago, but she had met with a girl who's now in college, but who she had coached when the girl was in elementary school. So really, yeah, these relationships and these skills are lifelong, which is amazing.
Well, thank you both so much. If there's nothing else, I think I will make sure to put, information from this chat, from the camp we spoke about, and from your organization online at wavy.com. So if anyone has additional questions, they know where to go, and I can put the phone number in as well, just so people have that resource. But if there's anything else from you, the floor is open.
Thank you so much for having us.
Absolutely.
Yeah, this has been wonderful. Yeah, we're always excited to talk about, just what we do and what we have going on. So we really appreciate this opportunity to chat and to share more about what we have going on at Girls on the Run.
Absolutely. And yes, last thing, we have some comments here on Facebook, and one person is saying that their two daughters, were both in the season, and, it's meant so much to their emotional and physical well-being is one of the things they say. But, I think there's such a joy for, their girls being in the program. So just kudos, in the chat. Just wanted to share that while we were on this stream still. So thank you for what you all do. And thank you for watching today. You can find this chat on Facebook, wavy.com, and YouTube, and head to wavy.com for more links and resources after this conversation. So thank you both so much.
Thanks,
Thank
Sarah.
you. This has been so fun.
Thank you.